Welcome back to the show, everybody. Well, our next guest is a Disney blogger and knows all the ins and outs of the park. Somebody once said about Brooke McDonald, nobody short of Mickey Mouse knows more about what's happening on the ground in those parks, and I believe it. And she's one of the few people we know who has visited the Star Wars Starship Cruiser Hotel. And we got to talk about that. Audience, give it up for our friend Brooke McDonald.
Hi, Jason.
Hi, Brooke. How you doing?
Hello. It's great to see you. Welcome to screens in Chicago, too. We're so excited to be seeing you here on TV.
That's right. Brooke is, for people that know, Brooke is based in Chicago. Brooke, no matter who I'm talking to, I sometimes like to start or end with a compliment. So I'm going to start with a compliment. You have been a massive hit on our show. We can always tell by the reaction. Here's a very nice comment that we got that I thought you would enjoy. This Kathy writes to us via the Jason Show Instagram. It was very long, but this is the gist of it. She wrote, "We went to Disney twice in 2021 without being able to get on Star Wars Rise of the Resistance," which everyone, if you don't go to Disney, it's one of the hottest rides still 3-4 years later. "Thanks to Brooke, we learned all the secrets to do everything we wanted to do. I love her." So, yeah.
Oh, thank you. Look, I love to hear that.
That's what Brooke does so well, is help people really. And that's what this is about, helping people with their vacations. We're going to get to a little bit of that a little bit later. But we got to talk about the news of the month. I think it's been about a month. Everyone's heard, whether you go to Disney or not. It was in the Wall Street Journal, on CBS, NBC. The Star Wars Galactic Star Cruiser Hotel is closing up. I know the answer, but how are you feeling about it?
Oh, what a gut punch for our family who loved this experience so much. It's been difficult to really give words to it. It was truly the most powerful, impactful experience we've ever done as a family, our absolute favorite vacation we've ever done. We have been multiple times. Fortunately, we have another chance to go. We're going to return one more time as a family, and I'm going with a bunch of super fan friends to say goodbye to it at the very end as well. It's just a huge shame.
I was going to say, for people watching, Brooke, that won't get to go, never got to go, what's the single biggest loss? Is it the fact that it was really, it was that Disney magic completely immersing you? Is that a good way to say it?
It really is. And I just think, part of the problem was that there hasn't really been time to get the word out about what this really was. It's not a hotel. And people said, they saw the price tag and they said, well, that's the most expensive hotel I've ever heard of. But it truly was this immersive experience where you really came together with your family and with the other guests, and you're surrounded by the most talented performers and really attentive cast members, and it just created this in 45 hours, this feeling of connection, and just it was emotional, it was beautiful, it's just incredible. So I'm really sad for the people who created it, that it didn't get a longer chance. I've heard so many people say, gosh, we were just waiting until our kiddo was 7 and could be old enough to do the lightsaber training, or we'd been saving up, or we were going to go for our honeymoon. And so I just think, I'm afraid the plug was pulled too early, and we didn't have time to get the word out about how great it was. And
it's closing in September. And Brooke, it did not take long for the remaining voyages to get booked. Am I right on that?
Oh my gosh, no. They paused bookings to move people from canceled voyages into the remaining bookings, and then everything else from now through the final voyage, which is September 28th, booked solid within a day. And now people have been hitting the phones really hard every single day trying to find cancellations. And I've been on the phones a lot talking to them as well, and hearing that they get maybe one a day of people, canceling and getting people in. So there are so many people who, both people who loved it and want to return one last time, and also all of the people who had it in their longer term plan who are now like, oh my gosh, this is my only chance, I've got to get on. It's a shame for sure.
Moving from a galaxy far, far away to something closer to home. We saw pictures a few minutes ago of your beautiful boys. A great experience for everyone came back to the parks recently, and that's character experiences. For people that don't know, not familiar with the vernacular, what comes with those experiences?
Well, we've been seeing just the increase in the evolution of both returning character experiences that had remained distant for quite a long time following COVID, and some new characters too. Just recently, Ariel from the live action Little Mermaid just started meeting at Disney's Hollywood Studios. It's been a long time coming, but Moana just got her first ever dedicated meet and greet at Disney's Animal Kingdom. And then we've seen some things coming back where you get to get closer and you get to get those hugs. A bunch of the Pixar characters at Hollywood Studios are now back in an area that's been kind of reopened, and it's being called Pixar Plaza now. And you can meet Edna Mode and Mr. and Mrs. Incredible and Frozone and Sully, and just kind of make the rounds and get those hugs. And, you know, just a lot of the characters that we were seeing far away, behind a gate, up on a grassy knoll, things like that, we now get to get close to again.
And Brooke, I know that's very detailed, but if parents are watching, they like what they hear with the character meet and greets are back. The easiest way to see where the characters are, they go under the wait time, right, on the My Disney Experience app, and all the characters are listed there and what time they come out. Am I right?
That's exactly right. And it's kind of hard to find. So I'm glad you pointed that out. It's, you know, there's a home button, a little house, and then it's the one just to the next of it. And if you hit that, it's underneath where the wait times are, and you can see a list of characters. And I do really recommend, if you want to see a particular character, to be sure to check those times. They typically do not meet for the whole, you know, open to close of the park. A lot of them end at 4 o'clock. Moana has pretty limited hours, and then they come and go a lot. So just keeping an eye on that. And also weather does impact character meets too, depending on the costuming and whether they're meeting outside uncovered. So if you've got a priority, definitely keep an eye on those times.
Well, Disney is an expensive endeavor no matter what you do, especially for food. How can you maybe sort of spend a little less money? Brooke's going to talk about the Disney dining plan. If it's for you when we come back. Back in a moment, everybody. Welcome back. We're back with my buddy. We're back with my buddy, travel blogger Brooke McDonald, the Disney World expert. Okay, everyone watching, if you're planning a trip, you know it's expensive, especially feeding the family. Disney recently brought back what's called the Disney Dining Plan. Brooke, can you explain first what that is?
Yes. So the Disney Dining Plan is coming back in 2024. So it's now available for bookings for stays January 9th, 2024 and beyond. And basically what this means is, for a Walt Disney World vacation package that includes hotel and park tickets, you can opt to add the Disney Dining Plan to every night of your stay. There are 2 different tiers: quick service, where it's all quick service meals and snacks, and then a table service version that would include both table service and a table service and a quick service meal, snacks, refillable drink mug over the course of the day. What's interesting about the dining plan has always been very polarizing. Some people absolutely love the idea of prepaying your vacation, so you're able to, you know, kind of know what you're spending on your meals ahead of time. So it's a nice easy way to budget. And it is possible to save money with the dining plan, but it is also possible to not. So it's not a one-size-fits-all for everyone. I would say, in terms of if you're trying to determine whether it's a good fit for your family, one of the biggest components is it's pretty difficult to save money on the dining plan if you don't drink alcohol. All adult meals include an alcoholic beverage, and those typically range from, you know, $11 to $15. So if that's not part of your meal, then you're kind of losing at least that much value from the cost of that dining plan. And kids 10 to 20 are, you know, they pay as an adult, but obviously they don't drink, for example. So depending on your family makeup, it doesn't always work.
Do you like using it? I mean, because you have a family of 4. Do you enjoy it?
We don't. The reason we typically don't opt to do it is we're not huge eaters. We typically are not the type to go sit down at a table service meal and get a multi-course meal. We don't usually order dessert, for example, and the table service includes dessert. You know, we might get an ice cream a couple hours later in the park. So you really need to look at the components and see if it is the way that your family likes to eat. And if it's not, then it may not work for you. We love to share. A couple things, I can share a few ways that we do save money when we don't do the dining plan, which you can do right now before the dining plan launches.
What's your number one tip? Because food is so expensive. What is your number one tip for saving money in the food area?
Well, let's see. When it comes to table service, it is, as we talked about last time, I think on the show, Jason, taking a break and sitting down and having a server and relaxing is really an important way for a family to cool off and chill out in the parks. So while I love table service, we don't necessarily want a $40 entree for lunch. So I love lounges. There are so many lounges, wonderfully themed throughout both the parks and the resorts, and they are a great way to get that break and that table service experience. But it's typically a blend of appetizers and small plates, and you can order a $20 burger or a shared starter instead of that multi-course meal. A couple of my favorites are Nomad Lounge at Disney's Animal Kingdom. Space 220 Lounge at Epcot is a great way to experience a really cool space that typically is a prefix meal cost if you sit in the restaurant portion, but the lounge is right next to it and you still see everything. And then the resorts have great ones too. I love Trader Sam's. I love Enchanted Rose at the Grand Floridian, Steakhouse 71 at the Contemporary. There are a lot of places to have a table service meal, but not pay table service prices.
Absolutely. There are ways to save. There really are. And if you want more, follow Brooke on social. She can help you out. Brooke, good to see you.
It's so good to see you, always.
All of Brooke's travel articles and content you can find on her Instagram. Her handle is Brooke G. McDonald. I'm not kidding. She can save your family money. We're going to take a break. We'll be right back. Back in a moment.